Hey there, Georgie here with Ukraine Matters. Every serious journalist right now is covering the situation in Alaska, except for me, because I think it will be a complete nothing burger, and it's basically just news that people are producing from thin air. Therefore, I will be skipping it and will cover only the outcome coming tomorrow. But instead, we're going to be talking about what is happening with the Russian missile production under the sanctions regime, and we'll be discussing who is the biggest coward in Russia. So let's start, because we have things to talk about. Overall, the video today will be very short and sweet. We're going to start by talking about Pokrovsk and what's happening with the Russian breakthrough. It seems that with the Azov and other forces coming there, the situation have been contained. However, I'm getting mixed reports. There are some reports that are stating that Russians have been completely wiped out and destroyed, and they no longer have this forward push that they had before. But then there is also other sources that are acknowledging there is some additional Russian successes in the area. Therefore, I'm still withholding my judgments and expectations that the situation has significantly improved. But it's definitely clear that Ukrainians are putting a lot of effort to stabilize the situation and hopefully even return to more manageable defensive positions. Ukrainian strikes on the oil refining facilities in Russia have resumed with great frequency, I might add. And tonight we are looking at the Lukoil refinery being struck in the Volgograd region with multiple drone strikes reported. The facility seemingly is burning up to this point. Ukrainians are continuing rolling out their kinetic oil sanctions on Russia. The key article that I would like to highlight today is this one from United 24 Media. They are describing how the sanctions that are imposed on Russia are helping to create issues for their weapons manufacturers. They outline that the sanctions steadily choke the Russian ability to produce the Kh-59 missiles or use them to their full potential. But while some companies that are producing components for these missiles, there is still plenty to be had and plenty of work to go around for us Europeans. Hur states, nearly 50 companies, about 40% of the list, are still not under sanctions from any country. But they also state that even under these conditions, Russia is already facing serious problems fulfilling its state defense order. So this is great news. That means the sanctions are working. More importantly, not only it forces Russia to have problems with delivering the state order for defense, but also it sabotages the quality of these missiles because Russians are substituting components in these missiles for either inferior things or sometimes even just plugging in some dummy parts just to kind of get it to working condition at all. Quote, not even cannibalizing old systems is helping. Russia is dismantling outdated R-95 engines and repurposing guidance system components on a large scale. Moreover, in some documented cases, Kh-59 missiles have been fitted with inert mock-ups instead of active radar seekers, the missile's most expensive and most production-critical components. Quote, these examples prove that sanctions work. Further tightening and expanding sanctions to include low-tier suppliers could further slow production of Russia's main strike systems. And this is key. Sanctions work. I know we always talk about whether sanctions are relevant, whether they do something. They do. This helps. So that's why more sanctions is needed and more sanctions should be there. So I call on everyone watching this video. First one, that I want you to try to bug your politicians a little bit and try to bug maybe some companies a bit. And if you want to know which company and politicians about what, then Hur actually has this website you might not know of. So today we're going to educate you and I'm going to share the link to the website. It's the main portal about sponsors and supporters of the Russian aggression to Ukraine. And this is a fantastic resource. Firstly, we all hate child kidnappers, right? We all hate people that really deserve to be on the bench on the tribunal. And Ukrainians have gathered all of these nice spaces with description what they did to kidnap Ukrainian children. That is one thing. But otherwise, for example, component list. So here you can go and check all the manufacturers of components that go into the Russian missiles that then rain and kill civilians. So you can easily look at who is producing it and what country it is from, and you can bug either these companies and ask them why they are sending their components to Russia and what are they going to do about this, and also to your politicians asking why are we still supporting it. But more importantly, there is a lot of other good things on this website that you can explore. For example, have you ever wondered about the Russian Shadow Fleet? Well, here it is. There's a whole website that describes ships that go into the Russian Shadow Fleet. So if you wanted to get an overview and ask your government about why these are not being banned, you're welcome. Link will be in description. It's a fantastic tool. I recommend everyone to at least spend some time checking it out. And if this video will be short enough for you, then at least take this away with you as a present from Ukrainians and myself to you. The sabotage of the dam in spring of 2025 in Norway has been linked to the Russian hackers. Surprise, surprise, Russians are waging war on us. And while the damage was relatively mild, if not to say low, overall, it still is an important aspect to underscore that Russians are going after our critical targets. And I want to quote this part here, that this can include subversive activity, influence, polarization, covert intelligence gathering methods aimed at weakening our security, but which cannot be characterized as acts of war. The goal is to influence Norwegian society, create a sense of unrest and instability, and identify our strengths and weaknesses. So it is important to understand that Russia is trying to make you feel unsafe. That is the whole point of their campaign. Every time they try to sabotage, hack something, electricity in Spain and other things, it all is there to create the vibes that Russia is this big and strong and they can do everything. And that's why I'm really calling on anyone that has any influence of every political party to please take this threat seriously and be proactive in actually responding to these attacks. Interesting statements came from Macron and also Merz and kind of Trump. I'm a little bit hesitant on reporting this because this might be a nothing burger, but there have been discussion and claims that supposedly not only European allies, the coalition of the willing so-called, but also supposedly United States could be ready to provide Ukraine with security guarantees. Now, again, I don't want to speculate too much about this because it can be easily a nothing burger. We're talking about the Trump's America at this point. But if there is a possibility to get some kind of available security guarantees for Ukraine, I think this opens new possibilities for Ukraine to potentially transition to the next stage in bringing this war to potentially acceptable resolution for Ukrainians. A question for you all. Who do you think is the biggest coward in Russia? And I mean, the answer is pretty obvious. It's Vladimir Putin. We all saw his tables, the insane COVID tables that he had with his own closest allies. And now we also see that his residence has been absolutely littered with the anti-air defenses. His castle at Valdai has had over 12 known points of where the Russian dedicated military anti-air systems have been located. We're not talking about some small things. We're talking about actual like big panzer systems, looks like a big vehicle with missiles that is being placed on these dedicated platforms above the tree line to try to shut down any potential incoming drone. This is hilarious because so many more critical assets in Russia do not have even a sliver of these defenses, including the city of Moscow. And let's finish on some good news. Firstly, another group of Ukrainian children has been returned. It's fantastic to see that the program for returning of Ukrainian children is working. And I mean, it just makes my heart sing that this thing is happening, and it's an absolute atrocity that this is even something we need to discuss. Moreover, additional good news is that exchange has happened, and now 84 more Ukrainian defenders are coming back to the motherland. Whenever it happens, it's always a moment to celebrate that people that gave everything to defend Ukraine came back alive and now able to reconnect with their loved ones. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Trust in Ukrainian Armed Forces. Slava Ukraini. And I will see you tomorrow.